our thoughts and feelings are our own and are not representative of Electronic Arts as a whole or anyone else.
Once again, it's time for the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Let's go ahead and get right into the show.
Come on, I just want to hear you saying what you're typing into the text because it's hilarious.
I'm not doing
it's like, I'm about to do the podcast.
I looked up and I heard the click this time and I said, no, you bastard. No. All right. We got guests. Can we be professional with a guest one time? That's all.
This is professional.
This is our level of professional. Man, this is going to be a great show, guys, and thank you for coming in and listening to us again today. We got a special guest in here. This guest has been somebody that a lot of our listeners have been kind of asking for this information. We've gotten a lot of emails from people, which is weird because we do cover a lot of different aspects of geek culture, from comic books to manga to anime and stuff. So they've asked us about bringing in a comic book writer or somebody that's doing their own comic book. And we've reached out to some people that are going to be on the show this year. But we wanted to take a different angle for our first guest because this is a guy who is self-publishing. He's not with a big house. He's not with DC. He's not with Marvel. We'll say yet, but he's doing his own line, his own comic book. We're bringing him in, and we're going to get to find out what it takes to do that. And I think this is going to be really interesting for a lot of people. First of all, I want to welcome to the show is Wilfred Esteves.
Yeah.
Esteves. Okay, I'm going to mess that up. I want you to know that it's going to get messed up later in here because my Spanish is terrible, and I ordered a quesadilla. So I want you to know what you're getting with me over here. But welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. And I'm good. I'm good, actually.
All right, great. So, man, go ahead. Tell us, what's the name of this book you're making?
Well, it's called Thorn Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
It's an all-female squadron. They're the elite of a resistance. They're fighting against corrupt and xenophobic Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting against them. It's my take of what I thought would be cool in Star Wars.
Right.
Because for me, Star Wars hasn't been cool in a while.
Right.
So I was like, I want to do my own thing. And it's just having some chicks kicking ass, fighting against really unsurmountable odds.
Okay. Now, first of all, that's already piqued my interest. So we're talking an all-female team.
Yeah.
All-female team, and they're basically fighting something that's like the Empire, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how long ago did you come up with the idea for this?
If we're being realistic, around 2008,
Mm-hmm.
An idea I had for an all-female squad, like Gatchaman or Battle of the Planet, something like that.
Right.
And then I shelved it until last year when I started writing it. I was talking with someone. I said, you know what? I want to do my own Star Wars with blackjack and hookers. And that gave me the idea. Why don't I start it in a casino with blackjack and hookers? And that's how I did the first issue of the whole thing. And the characters just came to life just like that because they were already in my head for so long.
This is how you start a comic book with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
First of all, I've started weekends like that. Okay? I like to call that all of 89 to 95 when I was in the military. That was pretty much every Saturday got started that way.
Just stay away from the Terminator.
Yeah, I just got to stay away from Terminators when I'm in there. So, man, this is actually a great idea. Now, the thing that gets me interested is I grew up with that anime that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So, Battle of the Planets was the American version of Science Ninja Team Gatchaman.
Yeah.
When it came to the U.S., it was heavily censored.
It was butchered.
Yeah,
it was.
But it was still so cool to watch this team of 5, kids in this amazing vehicle, the Phoenix, flying through the sky and fighting. What was it? Was it? I don't think he was Destro. I think he was Zordon at that time. It was a weird name.
I think it was Ultron.
Yeah,
something like that. Ultron or something like that.
He had a weird name, and I just remember them going, okay, they're fighting that guy, and he was really, fabulous. He looked like he was wearing something Lady Gaga would wear right now. But I remember that show so well. So, now that we know what the influence is, when you started writing it, did you just say, hey, I'm going to write this script out first, or?
Well, it was in May. actually, when I had the idea of just writing the whole thing. I had my notebook. I always carry around a notepad with a pen because you don't know when inspiration is gonna hit.
Right.
And I already had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I just wrote on one page a simple sentence breakdown of all the issues, and then from there I started writing the whole thing, like an outline, the mythology behind of it, the science, the creatures, and all that, and then the characters were already there. They just put it on their skin because I always wanted them to be female, but I wanted to give them personalities, which I hope I did as I wrote the whole thing. But the first thing was just writing those sentences. The first sentence, they're in the casino, they're fighting, they find some information, then they go on and they builds up to the next one. They have to find more information about this thing on them, and that's what I did. Like I wrote sentences just explaining for myself what was going to happen in each issue, and then I wrote it down, like 4 or 5 pages of outline, just so I could get the beats down.
Okay.
And it takes a while because it's actually made from scratch. Like I was just from idea to finished script. It took me 2-3 weeks. Because it was making me happy. Normally, when artists, when they create, they're really self-critical.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I know.
So I've never been happy. I was like, okay, whatever. That sounds fun. That sounds interesting. But I was really enjoying the whole thing, like whole pace of it. Like I would write a week, I would edit in a week. I was like, okay, this is perfect. I like this, and that's how I wrote the first 3 issues actually.
Right.
And then I left it because my family came over. Real life tends to hit. But that helped because during that time, that's when I found the artist and say, hey, you want to read this? Or you be interested in doing something like this? And she loved it. And I said, good, because someone else likes it. It's not just me being deluded about my own, tooting my own horn, like, oh, that was great. But someone else going, that was really fun. I really want to draw this. I said, good, because that's exactly what I want. I want someone just to pay them, and that's it.
That is awesome. So now, what's the artist's name?
Her name is Alair Rasikat. From what I understand, she's from Idaho. I don't actually have a lot of information about her or her husband who's doing the lettering, because I'm trying to keep it as professional as possible, so I don't want to make too many attachments or things like that because it's just people.
Right.
But they got married recently, so I got really proud for them. I was like, oh, that's great. Like they just got. For me, I just met them, but for them, during this whole thing, she doing the art and him doing the lettering and producing the whole book and all that. They're getting married and they're actually liking what I'm doing and the whole idea of it. I was like, okay, I found good partners.
That's what's most important.
Yeah.
That you found people that not only were going to help you with it, but they believed in what they were participating in.
Yeah, it's great. A great incentive. Like it makes you want to keep writing.
Definitely. So, in your mind, how many issues do you see this like at first a mini series to start out?
At first, it's gonna be only 6 issues, and then hopefully with how things go, depending if I do make enough of, money from it. I have an idea for 2 more miniseries. 2 more it's gonna be a trilogy of 6 issues each. And I have already have the ideas of what's gonna happen on every one of them. I already planted seeds that are gonna be happening on the next, but they're not gonna be the focus, or you're not even gonna notice they're part of the whole main storyline until it happens. Because I do like doing foreshadowing. So so I'm like, oh, just put this thing here. I'll pick it up later when it happens. But it is self-contained. Like if nothing happens, well, at least I did something. I got artists, I got a colorist, I got a letterer. I'm gonna figure out what to do with it next.
So you guys are basically you got a full squad. So it sounds like it's a 4-man team doing this.
Yeah, it's 4 of us. It's the artist Alair, a colorist. Her name is Bethany Consolliver, and the letterer is Tobin Rasikat. And like I found them individually. Like I found her first, and then say, "Hey, do you know what letter or someone?" Because I want to do a logo, a nice logo for the whole thing. And she told me the guy. I didn't know they were actually together. I said, "Oh, yes, he's really good." And then I asked, "Do you know a colorist?" And I said, "Yeah, I know a guy. I know a girl." And because I wanted more female influence too, since it's a female-led book, I wanted more female artists because there's not really a lot in comic books unless they're independent or Japanese.
Right.
Like you see Rumiko Takahashi or you see Naoko Takeuchi or things like that. And you're like, yeah, but where's the American ones? You got Amanda Conner and you got forgot her name.
I know Gail Simone was one of the big ones.
Simone, yeah.
Yeah, those are like big names, but you know they're.
But indie, you don't see a lot of.
Yeah, no.
Things unless you go really indie.
Right. Well, you know what's so interesting about this? Even if you look at the Hernandez brothers, who did the great series Love and Rockets,
yeah,
they wrote these really great, strong female characters, and you always kind of. I used to collect it, and I would always think, how did these guys just write these amazing characters, man? And they always wrote like it felt authentic.
I mean, they're people. They're not characters. They feel like people, and that's what I wanted because I like. Not saying realism, but I want to have a character. I want to have someone that moves around and feels alive and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's not like I necessarily needed a female artist. It's just that I really thought it would be great just to get the finesse of what I was looking for in the characters.
Right. And plus, probably with a female artist, I think one of the things that we see in comic books a lot of time is we make over-sexualize female characters.
Yeah, well, I didn't do that. I from the start, I was already thinking I don't want basically aliens with prosthetics. I don't want the Star Trek or Star Wars thing like, oh, that's a human with fake ears. Like, for me, anatomically, they do look like what a creature would look if they evolved that way. Mm-hmm. Like one of the characters, she's a monkey. She doesn't have breasts because that wouldn't be a normal human, a normal animal characteristic.
Right.
And from the start I was already no, I don't want to be all sexy Barbarella type thing. I don't want anything like that. I just want real characters moving around, drawn realistically. So even the main character, she's not voluptuous. She's just,
the girl next door type.
Like more what I was looking for because I'm Puerto Rican, and you don't see a lot of those. Not doing it for representation. I just thought it'd be cool to have a Puerto Rican in space. Because you never see those.
True. Okay.
And that's why I named her Rima Cofresi, which is also one of the most famous pirates in Puerto Rico. Cofresi, it was the only Puerto Rican last name. Everything else comes from Spain or Europe or Africa. Right. So I was like, no, I want my identity right there.
And you're breaking some big ground here. Okay, with this comic, I mean...
I'm just writing a comic. I don't know if I'm breaking ground.
That's the beauty of it. You didn't start out and say, hey, I'm about to go out here and I'm really going to shake up the comic world. You said, hey, I got this great idea and I want to put this out here. But for somebody that's on the outside looking in like myself, you're doing some pretty damn amazing things. First of all, let's talk about representation. We don't see a lot of characters of color that were represented in comic books for years until recently, and you and I were talking about this, Brandon. Marvel has really made some great strides in the last few years, bringing in characters of color or people of color. And one of their biggest selling comic books is the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And this is a kid, African-American and Spanish heritage, who's one of their biggest selling books.
Don't forget about Kamala Khan, too.
Kamala Khan taking over as Miss Marvel.
Yeah, that was a good book. I love Miss Marvel. I haven't read it in forever, but I love everything about it.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys get your hands on Champions, the series where they got all the young kids, so Nova and Viv and the new Korean Hulk.
Frank Cho? Frank Cho. Amadeus Cho. Frank Cho is the artist.
Yeah, I'm telling you, amazing book. And so we're starting to see these things happen. Riri Williams just took over as Iron Man.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're doing is, to me, it's amazing because while we have all these characters, you're bringing another representation to the table that, there's a kid right now that sees that book and they're going to be like, hey, this could be me. I could do this. And I think that's a great thing, that we do need to have more people of different backgrounds and ethnicities when we're starting to bring out these comic books. It's just, I think that's amazing. The other thing is, I think just not making over-sexualized characters.
Yeah.
That is just, I'm 45, and maybe it's because I have daughters. I get tired of seeing half-naked women in comic books. You're just like, that was cool when I was 18, but now, why is she wearing that little clothing? Doesn't that tear pretty easy in a fight? I'm just thinking through it maybe too much. Right? So, I mean, what were some? I mean, when you've mentioned a lot of things that have influenced you, let's ask you this: when you were a kid, what were the biggest sci-fi influences to you?
I would say, I mean, I'm 34 now, so I watch a lot of television. Star Wars would be the main one. Everybody grows up. They see Star Wars, Star Trek, the original one. I don't care for Next Generation. Maybe blasphemy for some people, but I prefer Kirk to Picard.
Just get out.
I think he's the best captain.
Kirk to Picard?
Picard, I think he's too passive, and I never cared much for his whole approach. I
mean, what's wrong with Picard? He hates children.
I mean, that's great. I mean,
really?
Everybody hates children. There's nothing wrong about
Wesley.
hating children. Yeah, and Wesley is not. Talk about a Mary Sue character. It doesn't get any more Mary Sue than Wesley. But like original Star Trek, Farscape, Quantum
is amazing.
Leap. I have that one on DVD. So
Yeah, I've got the whole series, including all of the
Peacekeeper War, the comics.
Yeah, the Peacekeeper Wars.
Yeah.
I don't have the comics. I haven't actually read through the comics, but yeah, all of the actual
I signed
show.
that petition when they canceled Farscape on
So did I.
98. I was like, nope, my name has to be there. I want that show back. Because I love Muppets. I love Farscape. That thing has to come back. And it did. Peacekeeper Wars came back. It was a good influence. Sci-fi, real good sci-fi.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot of now. Other influences, I guess, Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies.
Right.
But that's more sci-fi. I wouldn't say more sci-fi. That's just has sci-fi elements.
It's an adventure movie with sci-fi elements.
With an amazing soundtrack, and you just like, go Marty, destroy that tree. Just I don't know, it's great. I love that one.
Lone Pines Mall.
Yeah, I love that joke. Oh, Twin Pines, Lone Pines. You're like, oh wait
a second.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah. The perfect script. If I can write a script like the Zemeckis and Bob Gale did, I'll be really, really happy. Because for me, that's the perfect script. People talk about, I don't know, new current movies like The Departed, and it has a great script, or things like that. And no, the perfect script is Back to the Future because nothing is wasted.
That's so true. I've never thought about that, but that's a good line.
Great.
A lot of that too, though, at least with movies, you can have a really good script, but the script can have too much in it. It's a good editor before it gets out.
A movie's not made until the editor gets it.
Yeah.
That's something that Tarantino says, and I really like. Yeah, that's true. Because you can have a script, you can have a lot of film stock, and I mean, look at Star Wars. Star Wars was made because of the editing, because of Marsha and
because of the soundtrack too.
And the soundtrack, like it wasn't just
the
Lucas.
soundtrack of that movie actually makes you take that movie seriously.
Yeah,
because without that soundtrack,
it just be Flash Gordon, bad Flash Gordon.
Yeah, it would just be terrible.
Yeah, but as the other influences, I just like old stuff. Galactica, the original stuff. I like the new one better, but the old stuff.
I grew up with the old Battlestar Galactica.
The
Apollo
cheesy stuff.
Apollo, I cannot remember the actor's name
Richard
for the life
Hatch.
of me, died today.
Wait, really?
Yeah, we just this morning we were actually going to do we were kind of discussing it. He passed away today. His son had put out the message, and we were sitting here going, I don't know if I want to do a show about that, but that's something we're going to come back to because he was so influential to me as a child. I watched that show with my brother and my dad as a kid. That was the Sunday night. Battlestar Galactica came on. You had everything done, trash out, chores done, because you need to be sitting down with everybody to watch that when it came on. And so that's one of those things that I cherish that memory. So when I saw he passed, I was like, it sucks, Wow. It does suck.
I'm surprised because the only real death of a celebrity that hit me was Bowie. So hearing Hatch, I was like, wait, really? I didn't even see that online.
Yeah, no,
weird.
Man. It was... You deep geek. We're deep geek. So when we're online, we are getting it's so much stuff that we funnel through during the day, man. That's so geek oriented. But yeah, that was one of the things we were looking at with Richard Hatch. I think he was 71 years old, man, when he passed today.
Wow.
And today being February 7th, I mean, most people, by the time we air this show, they won't know that today was February 7th. Okay.
We'll time travel a few weeks in the future and be like, he died? When did he die?
Yeah. So, but man, you got so many great influences. So
that's just the American ones. I haven't even gone with the European and Hispanic things that I like. Like I used to love the old like Karl Barks comics in Spanish for Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. Never read I forgot his name. The guy that did the comics for Mickey Mouse that were really good. Fyodor something. I forgot his name. But like the old Disney, like I wouldn't buy comic books like kids buy comic books when I was growing up. We go to the pharmacy. There was the little section for that, and it was just like little digest books of Disney comics. So I didn't buy Spider-Man until college, and it was Ultimate Spider-Man. I didn't buy X-Men. There was the cartoons, because that's how I learned English, watching television. But it was that storytelling, like seeing the Karl Barks stuff and seeing, like I used to read a lot, like Garcia Marquez and Isabel Allende and Cervantes, Don Quixote. Like I love reading, and there's a lot of influences that I like. And not just focus on the North American side of it.
Right.
And it's great. I mean, what I am now is because of all the stuff. And that's what I'm writing, things that I like that encompasses so many things. Mm-hmm. And it keeps going. I keep watching stuff that I'm like, okay, that was cool. I want to do something like that.
Okay. Now he's got me. Now my interest is piqued. He's saying a lot of things. You hit me with a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay, I want to dig deeper into this. I saw the first page. You sent me that, let me see the first page of the book. And what got me was when I looked at it. Remember, we talked about 2000 AD.
Yeah.
Remember that comic and all the great writers that came out of that British explosion? I'm going to get you a picture from his first picture of the comic. I want you to see it. Your mind's going to expand looking at this picture. Because to me, I saw early 80s heavy metal kind of influence of space. It was definitely not this. It was something different. It felt fresh and alive. But it had like a classic throwback to what I would expect from my age of space.
I guess that goes more with the artist. Like I just wrote like cityscape, whatever, like basic script, but she really got what I was going for.
Yeah, because I remember you said, this is it. This
That's
is what
the
I
art
wanted.
that I wanted, yeah. Like, Alaire really, we have a great relationship because of that. Like, I told her, okay, I want this, and she does it even better than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. I said, yes, exactly, perfect. Don't fix anything. Hell, even when she sends me pencils of the thumbs, I just want to print that as a comic book. I don't care about the finished art or the finished colors, because she's really just doing exactly what I want on the comic. She's really doing the whole story justice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay, so when you start writing, how does a guy go about finding an artist to bring his words to life? How did you do that?
I have a Reddit account, and there's a subreddit called Comic Book Collab. She submitted there, hey, I'm an artist looking for work. Mm-hmm. So I just messaged her, hey, I'm looking for an artist. Have you done sci-fi? She goes, no. I said, good. You want to do something sci-fi? Because she's only done fantasy.
Right.
I said, good. I don't want someone that does sci-fi.
Because they're going to bring in what they've done. Because
if they know sci-fi, they want to try replicating Star Wars. I don't want that. I want their own take. I wouldn't say a fantastic feel to it, but I want something different. It feels, and I mean, like you say with the first page, it looks like heavy metal or 2000 AD, which I love. Or actually more like Jodorowsky. I love Jodorowsky, and I love Mobius, and that's what I wouldn't say going for, but when I see it, I'm like, I see something like Mobius doing that.
Feel. That's what it is to me. When I look at something, I always, how does it make me feel? Where does it take me in my mind?
Yeah.
You hit it on that first page. You nailed this. And I mean, not blowing smoke up your ass. I really liked what I saw. And when I looked at it, I was like, you're going to be on the podcast. And I was done. Like that day, I knew he's coming on the show. We got to talk to this guy. So then she brings in the letter. That's her husband now.
Yeah.
And the color. So you found everybody basically from
Just
these
with
connections.
her. Yeah.
From her.
Yeah, because she knew the people. I guess they all studied together, or they knew each other from some school in Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted, like the colorist, I wanted something. I wouldn't say comic booky, but more, I don't know, dirty. I didn't want it to look too clean or too like how Marvel looks now or how DC looks now. Like it looks really clean.
Mm-hmm.
You want 70s Star Wars, not late 90s, early 2000s Star Wars. Where it looks like
something
somebody
like
went
that.
over
Like
everything
something
with a
Dark
power
Horse
washer.
or Marvel printed when they did Star Wars. Hell, even when they did the graphic novels, the Marvel graphic novels, something like that, like the Elric Melbybone book, which was done by, I forgot his name. Actually. Robert something, I think. I don't remember. Like, I wanted something like that. Those colors that they will be like 4-color printing.
Right.
And the colorist, Bethany, it looks like watercolors. And I love watercolor. So when she did the first page in color, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. That's really different. And now we get to see the next one. And the next page, she's on page 4 now. She's color already.
Mm-hmm.
And they all look like they were watercolored. And it's all digital. And I'm loving everything. I printed it out just to see how it looks in paper.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is exactly what I envisioned with this thing.
Wow.
And it was just random people that I found online, because normally you don't hit it that well when you hire an artist. They flake out, or they're not that good, or they disappear. Just being constant in both quality and timely delivery. Same thing with the colorist. I'm pretty sure something bad is gonna happen soon in my life, because I got really lucky with these people.
Oh man, no, I'm blown away by this, man, because you hear people say this all the time to us, and I think it's just because of the circles we run into and we're always going to things. I hear people say, man, I always wanted to do my own comic book. And I've had people ask me, hey, I would like for you to write this comic book for me. And I'm like, I write comedy, and it's hard enough writing that and me being satisfied to put that.
It's like that saying, dying is hard. No, dying is easy. Comedy is hard.
It's hard enough to do that. And so then they're like, but we think you would bring a great voice to this. No, you don't understand. I am the guy. I have 2 albums that are still in the can, unreleased, because everybody else listened to them and thought they were brilliant. I listened to them and hated them and shelved them. So I know what it means when an artist says, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not releasing that. Now I go back to it 5 years later, and I listen to the second album of those 2 that are canned, and I went, that was a really good album. Why didn't I release this? Because I'm my own worst critic. So I totally get where you're coming from with that. So when you wrote the first, it just came to you that easily. You're just like,
it just flowed. Like, I never had such an easy time writing something.
Mm-hmm.
The first page is always hard because you're trying to find that tone before you lay your feet down and start running.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find, like I said, do I want it to sound like this? Do I want it? But after that first page came in, just everything just flowed. The idea, the panel breakdowns, the rhythm of it. I like writing in English because of the rhythm.
Right.
I don't have rhythm in Spanish. In Spanish, it flows. It's a romantic language, so it flows differently. But in English, I get rhythm, and that's why I guess hip hop works so well in English compared to other languages. When you write, for me, when I write in English, even scripts, when I write screenplays, it has a rhythm, and I wanted to translate that thing on the script. And because people think, oh, just write a comic, it's easy, just put the words and then the artist does everything, and just do the Marvel method. Or I said, no, I want it. You have to have good cliffhangers. You want to make people turn the page. You have to fit certain amount of words because you don't want it to be all wordy in the page. And then you have Claremont types of pages of, like 7 pages in one. I love Claremont stuff. I love X-Men with Claremont. I didn't care for the Jim Lee stuff. but they're so saturated, and you don't want to do that.
Let us go back to the 70s versions of Silver Surfer and
Yeah, when you got Stan Lee being all oratory, walking around all moping about his sad existence. Yeah, it sucks that you have a cosmic power.
and a surfboard.
It must be so terrible.
It must be so bad.
And it would be all this dialogue in here. It was like, I really wanted a comic book. I didn't want to read a novel. But it was so many words back, Doctor Strange, even Thor back in the days, those in the 70s.
Thor really had a Shakespearean bent, which is weird comparing with the humble beginnings of Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
So you're like, wow, where is he getting all this verbiage? They don't show this in Brooklyn. And he's like Thor talking really operatic, and it's cool, but that's not what I want, because it just weighs the whole book down. People are like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna look at the pictures.
Oh, I did that a lot.
And you have to, and it's a juggling act. Mm-hmm. Writing a good script, actually making it entertaining, and actually not making people want to skip your whole thing, your whole work. And even though I still love the Claremont stuff, I like going back to his whole X-Men run and New Mutants and all that stuff. But yeah, sometimes you just want some art and just enjoying the dialogue.
Right. So, okay, well, when we talk about, most actors say their favorite writer, they always have a certain guy they'll go to. Yeah. So most people always, and I've heard this, I don't know, several times, Tarantino, actors say he writes really great scripts. You want to speak his dialogue.
Yeah.
And he seems to get that whole thing. It's like there's a back and forth. It's almost like a romantic dance in the dialogue his characters have.
There. And that's why I love his movies. Like all of his, except Jackie Brown, I don't like that much. But that because that one is more, it's adapted from a book than actually original. But he does capture cinematic dialogue.
Oh God!
Not real dialogue, because no one wants to listen to real dialogue, because it's just gonna be a lot of stuttering and pauses and all that. David Mamet is the closest. I like David Mamet just because of that. But I don't know. Tarantino really captures the real cinematic dialogue that you wanna see. Like that first 10 minutes of Inglourious Basterds, when you're there hanging on to every word of Hans Landa, and you're like, they already know. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, this is about to go horrible. I was so tense and that's the thing I love. Like when you watch Pulp Fiction and you're going, okay, that first 10 minutes of every film he's ever done,
like what does it
changes
care about?
Everything about you.
Like you're watching it and you're like, oh, they're talking about burgers, okay, but that's how you know the character. That's how you know both of them are. What is it, Jules and Vince?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, it's not just talking about burgers or about how it's called the Royale with cheese. It's about knowing the characters, why one is more worldly than the other. And still, Vince is kind of dumb. Mm-hmm. He acts like this superior guy, but that's the character. You know the character just by those few minutes. And that's what he does really well. Normally, you read something, you don't know the character until the end. You're like, wait, what happened? Who was that guy? Mm-hmm. So I do like Tarantino a lot. Mm-hmm. But I would never try to emulate him, because his dialogue is really hard to pull off correctly.
Right. I don't know if we could even, to me, I'd be like, he has a great, like you're right, in film it's great to listen to and to watch it. But I don't know if I could read it as in like, oh, I read that in comic book form or in a manga form, and I'm not quite sure what I got out of that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. So you seem to be influenced by a lot of stuff. You've already kind of mentioned some. Out of the manga, what were some of your favorite? Did you have a favorite manga at all that you think maybe influenced some of your writing?
I didn't read a lot of manga. I've been reading more stuff now. I was reading Monster by Naoko Urasawa.
That's heavy reading.
And that one is fun. Like, I really want to adapt that into a TV series. I was reading the whole thing. I was like, I want to write the script. I really want to write a script based on this, because it was fun. But I like more anime. I watched a lot of anime growing up. Mm-hmm. Sailor Moon, Astro Boy is a standard. I didn't care much for Speed Racer because I didn't like much of the quick dialogue that they were trying to pull, because they were trying to fit a lot of information there. And it's only one guy, basically. I forgot his name, Hernandez something. and like Gatchaman, like Battle of the Planets that we started. We had a lot of uncensored cartoons, Ranma Half, which I love.
Oh man, that's going back. Okay.
Yeah, I love a lot of old stuff. Like I was watching Bubblegum Crisis and what was that one? Dirty Pair.
Mm-hmm.
For the cyberpunk influences, because I like cyberpunk too. I mean, visually, I haven't read a lot of it. I haven't read William Gibson, but I like Blade Runner, and I like.
So you did see Blade Runner?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I do have an idea for a script later on in life, but not now.
you got to finish this book first.
Yeah, so
you got to give us.
That's the thing with writing. You want to do so many things, and I just write everything down. I have a Dropbox just full of all the ideas that I wanna do in different formats, in different mediums. Like, okay, this is for a TV. This is for TV. This is for a movie. This is for a book. This is for comic book, and see what happens later. This book, Thorn Squadron, is I wouldn't say the newest of the ideas, but it was recent. Like I said, from final conception to writing the whole thing, it was like, okay, less than a month.
Wow.
But I have ideas for years. Like I wanted to do a ninja thing when I was in college, and I wanted to do the fantasy thing when I was in between the last 16 years, and because I like writing. It's not for the money. It's not even for the artistic thing. I just like writing.
Okay.
And hell, if something gets made, good.
Well, that's where we're going next. Because I mean, I've seen it. I think it's going to be a great work. I think it's amazing what I've seen right now. But there's that next step. So now we're basically looking at, you're going to self-publish this, right?
Yeah.
Limited run. Have you put thought into that side of it yet?
The thing that I was thinking of was maybe Comixology, which seems to be the best way because digital is not as expensive. And now I'm already going to be so deep in money that I'm spending because I'm paying all these people out of my own pocket unless I find a way to actually start making money of it. So I can pay them because I just want to write it. But I need to pay these people so they can actually keep doing what I'm liking. And so I was thinking Comixology would be the best thing. Just because it's digital, it will have more of a broader appeal. Like you can have more people like just download it, they don't care for it, whatever. Just it will be there. And I don't wanna I would love to do a Kickstarter, a physical copy of that series. We'll kill for something like that.
Could do it.
But
I really think you should. I mean, we're two guys that'll tell you. This started with a conversation of us talking about something geeky, and we've grown it to this. I think you should go for the Kickstarter and just say, hey, look. Because here's my thing. I think you have something that deserves to be seen by a larger audience. I think if you put it out there, you'll be amazed how many more people would jump on that Kickstarter.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when people actually like my thing. So
if you build it, they will throw money at you.
Especially when it's geeky. If it's in the geek culture, there is somebody wanting. Take my money, please.
So you put together the Kickstarter, and then all you have to do is just go back to Reddit and say, look, I found these people through Reddit. This comic is happening because of Reddit. And you put that shit on Reddit, it's going to blow up. And you'll get fully funded as quickly as you can.
Yeah, I've seen
as quickly
that.
as you can see.
It's just still I tend to be cautious.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I don't look at I've just gone full gun-ho on the whole I'm making a comic. Look at me go. I tend to be really cautious about what to do next. Like maybe I should do a Kickstarter. Maybe I shouldn't, and just take it easy and do digital first. So test the waters.
So how about when we start talking about going through Comixology and you're going a digital, do they say, okay, it's going to be up on the page for this long? Do they really spell it out for you what you're getting into?
That's what I haven't read yet because I'm not even done with the colors. So I want to be, when I'm halfway with colors, I'm still on page 4. So it's 22 pages, the first issue.
Okay.
So when I'm around page 11 or 12, I want to really get in depth into the whole research. What am I going to do with this thing?
Okay.
But I know I want to release it. It needs to be out because I don't want to keep all these people that have been working really hard, just not make it look like a vanity project. Like, hey, yeah, I got you people to draw for me. Good. Now go away. I want people to see their stuff.
Great. Yeah.
Because they deserve all the accolades that may happen. If they do happen, they deserve it because it's all them.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the book, yeah, but whatever. It's their art, their colors, their lettering, their whole thing. Everything is just them.
Man, you're a humble guy because
Yeah, well-
I don't know if I could be that way. I'd be, bruh, I got a book. Okay, y'all gonna read my book. But man, I still think it's fascinating that you put this much into it, man. But so let me ask you this. So we know first issue is going to be 22 pages. How many issues have you written, though, so far?
All 6.
So all 6 are
Oh,
written.
yeah, the whole thing is done. I haven't... The whole thing is written. It's already in the drive, so she can read it and start doing the art. I'm just, like, editing things. Like, can you change this panel? Can you change... I don't like that bubble. Don't like that color. Can you change it to something else? I'm just leaning back, writing other things, but that whole series is done.
So that's done. It's in
Yeah.
the can, basically.
Yeah,
The whole thing.
my part is done.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be all slacking off. Oh, soon I'll finish the other ones, and no, like I said, they were the motivation behind it. Like, I really want to see it finished because of the art. Like, they did a good job. I can't just slack off and just let them all hang out. Oh yeah, sorry, I haven't finished the thing yet. They motivated me into finishing the whole thing.
I'm just going to say this now. If anybody at Marvel or DC is listening to this show, this is the guy you need writing your series, because I know what books I've waited years for them to finish, and they were held up by writers. And so it's so good when I hear a writer say, oh no, my part's done, baby. I've written all my issues. The miniseries is finished. I just need them to draw it.
If they let me do a Dazzler series, I would totally be off of that one, just because it's such an underrated character. Just give me Dazzler. I don't care about... I mean, maybe Miles Morales, because he deserves to be more Puerto Rican than he is in the book. But
Yes. Yes. His grandma shows up, and she reminds me of some Puerto Rican grandmas I've dealt with in my life on the East Coast. So I was like, that's a very accurate portrayal. She is not playing
because
around.
that's the thing with Miles. I was like, oh, okay, he's half black, half Puerto Rican. He's not really acting like either, and he's just being all nerdy with Gank. He needs to be more Puerto Rican, more of that. Let's add more of that plantain in him. Come on, you need it. You need it.
Yeah. Oh, you said it, man. When his grandmother shows up in the new series, I was just rolling, and I was like, I actually took a screenshot of it and sent it to one of my buddies and said, this is your Nana. She's in a comic book. I don't know who met her, but she's in the Spider-Man now. And he's like, I got to go find that issue. When he just read that little part I sent him, I said, yeah, this is her. And it was just, and that's one of the things, like, I like that they're bringing a lot of characters. That's one of the things that I've seen people say is that sometimes these characters are there and they're the colors, but you really can't see any of the ethnicity in them sometimes. Yeah. It's just like, you did great, but this could be Joe Average White Guy we just swapped out of here too.
Like Amadeus Show, he could be it's Korean, so Korean-American character.
Mm-hmm.
He's just Amadeus Show, 12th smartest person in the Marvel Universe. Give him some more Koreanness to the whole thing. Make them act more... You don't have to be a stereotype, but our culture influences how you act.
Right.
It's just acting like a normal character, like basically a painted character. Like he's basically Bruce Banner, but a little bit more arrogant. Yeah. He has to have more of a Korean bent to himself. Same thing with Miles. He should be a little bit more Puerto Rican or a little bit more black. You add it. Don't be afraid of it. People will like it. Just make it more alive.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to lie, because Riri Williams is a very sassy black woman, very much in tune with the idea that she's a woman stepping into the Iron Man, outfit, and she's not scared to show her brains and her character. but at the same time, you understand that there were some things that were growing up, when she was dealing with school, there were the guys trying to be in your face that were just trying to hit it. I mean, there's things they're bringing into that character where you go, you're really nailing the black woman experience in America in this character while giving me a great comic book. And it doesn't look like it's running off readers because they are bringing in more.
That's one of the things I like about Kamala Khan. Like, they act like a Muslim family. Like, the way they talk, like Appa and Amma, you like the way the dad acted with everything.
Oh, with everything. Yeah, you're
and
not going to be out here doing this.
That does sound like some Arabs that I've seen.
Yeah.
And it's needed because you don't want to just be a skin swap of a character. Just make him more believable.
Yeah, and then plus they brought in the whole thing about the religion and are you going out on a religious holiday? Can you really be patrolling during Ramadan at certain times?
Yeah.
You're going, this is amazing.
I haven't gotten to that part. That sounds actually amazing. What would you do in Ramadan? I want to read more of that, actually.
There's some things that are going to happen that you start asking questions and you go, okay, these are great questions that should be asked of this character. What do you do?
Especially since the world is so cosmopolitan. It's great when you actually have other points of view like that. Especially when they're realistic point of view. It's not, oh yeah, I saw some Chinese guy just sitting eating noodles. I said, no, he's just doing noodles. But what about his experiences and where he is?
Yeah. No, and it always seems that we can write the stereotypes better. Stereotypes are just, they're easy. And every black character in the 70s, Luke Cage included, were these just, what up, jive turkey sucker? And I'd be like, bro, I don't know one black person in my family that talks like this. And my friends, growing up in the suburbs, I was always, you're a white kid. And then when I got to college, they were like, I'm sorry, you're not white. You're really an Asian kid in a black body because you watch a lot of anime, manga, and hentai. And I was like, thank you. You finally understand me. I only had to turn 19 for somebody to get it. Okay. But no, I think that's just fascinating what you're doing, man. If somebody was wanting to follow you on, let's say, social media, what are the outlets? What do you got?
The only one I do have is Twitter, which is Autolycan, AUTOLYCAN.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only one I have because I don't like Facebook. I finally got rid of myself of Facebook a few years ago because it's cancer.
Yeah.
And yeah,
nobody here disagrees with that.
Yeah.
No, it was like the most brilliant thing ever said on our show in the realest. Like, you could have dropped that mic right when you said that. I was like, okay, yeah.
We just be fighting with people about mundane things. I don't want to fight with people about mundane things. I just want to do my own thing. Stop harping on stuff that I don't care for. And so, yeah, Twitter be the best place to find me. I do have a blog, but I really don't care for it, so I'm not even mentioning that one.
Okay. I'm familiar with your WordPress blog.
Yeah.
I've done some. I did my homework.
That one is the only one I do have, and I need to update it because I don't like writing about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind talking about myself. But I think that's more of the passionate, hot-blooded Spaniard in me.
Mm-hmm.
We like talking about ourselves, but don't make me write a paragraph about how I am or anything like that.
But writing about other people.
Oh yeah, other people are great.
That's great. I can write about other people all day.
Start going all Hispanic with the cheese map, getting the little coffee out and doing all that. Yeah. But about myself, it's like, no, I'm humble. I'm timid. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But in person, it's a different thing. I can talk about myself.
Man, I tell you, I've had a blast. I'm really glad we got you on the show. If you do decide to go with the Kickstarter, I want you to let us know because Team Lift is going to support that. We will put you on our page. We will put it out to our listeners, and we would love to have you come back when you actually get ready to publish the book. Because I think what you've gone through is fascinating for anybody that's wanting to write a comic book or get started. My number one takeaway from you was sit down and start writing.
It's just doing it, yeah. Like, it took me forever to sit down and do it because I will get distracted. So, oh, look, I have a desk. I'll write later. Oh, I'll write later. And it keeps being pushed back. When I moved back to Texas, I said, no, I need to write. Mm-hmm. I need to get it done. I need to have my voice out just because I felt like I was going to burst if I didn't write anything.
Yeah. And Austin is a good place for that kind of thing too,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of artists in general here,
Yeah.
whether they be musicians or any other type of artwork. And
Like I
there's
live in New Orleans, but New Orleans was a little bit more limited with that. It was all musicians,
yeah.
which is not bad.
But here
But-
you've got, multiple different game
Yeah.
companies and things like that. So there's a ton of extra people who can do art that are around because the other industries, the movie industries
Yeah.
and whatnot, they attract those types of people to a place like Austin. So it's a good place to find people and to be able to work with other artists and find other artists and things like that.
Yeah, if you're not on Short Film Texas and you're wanting to write some scripts, I will send you the web link. I got introduced to it from a buddy of mine, and it's just been one of these things where I've been flirting with the idea of being in
I
doing
wrote
an
a few-
independent film, but I'm just like, okay,
I wrote a few short films actually.
I know what
One
your
got-
independent film's going to be like.
no, it's
I've
not going to be
seen
one of those.
your fucking anime collection, okay?
My independent film will be able to play at Sundance.
I did write a short film that they didn't get nominated for anything. It just got to quarterfinalists or something like that.
Oh, sweet.
But I was just an idea that I had. It's a guy that gets bit by a hipster, so he starts slowly transforming into a hipster, kind of like American Werewolf in London.
That is basically a real story that takes place in Austin
Yeah.
every day. That's a documentary.
So I was surprised when that one got so far. I said, "Wow, people really like my stupid idea about a guy getting bit by a hipster." So, and then I wrote another script for you might like this one actually, The Question, which is one of my favorite characters.
From DC.
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
I wrote
Okay.
a short script for contest they did a few last month actually, something like that. It was that guy that did the short film for the Power Rangers, the realistic, dark, gritty
Yes.
Power Rangers. He did a contest. And it had to be set in something that already existed, basically fan fiction. He wanted to write fan fiction, and I said, I like The Question. I love that character. I wrote a short screenplay about that. Him reporting during the whole riots, the racial riots that happen in everywhere, investigating the darkness behind it, because people want something positive, but there's always the people that exhort and abuse of the whole holy thought. And of course, what better character for that than The Question, especially when Danny O'Neill wrote it.
Man, you know what? You're my kind of comic book geek, first of all. You're hitting all the right points on this show, man. You're hitting all the right points with our listeners on this episode. Man, I think you've got something great here. I want to definitely bring you back because even now, I know I'm going to listen to this later and I'm going to go, why didn't I ask him this? I mean, because I feel like you had so many great influences and I could see where that pulls into you. I do want to know this. Like, do you set a schedule for yourself? Do you make yourself like, oh, I got to write this many hours a day?
Or I have to write this many words before I stop.
If I can, every week after work when I get home around 7 until 9. Depends on how inspired I get. I can do 3 to 5 pages.
Wow.
Because that's if I can actually get, focus enough to actually do it. Because then the first page you're like, how do I want it to sound? Then the second page, how do I really want this one to sound? Because the first page is not hard. It's hard. It's not that hard. Second page is really hard because you still have to grab that the attention of the reader. So yeah, I don't do weekends. I don't write on weekends because I got too many things to do. I'm baking. I bake bread. I make my own bread, so I don't. That's Sundays are baking bread. Saturdays are me doing shopping. I don't want to write. I don't want to focus on any of that stuff. And also helps if I would find a job as a writer. They do work Monday to Friday. It would motivate me to actually following that schedule.
First of all, I quit when you said you bake your own bread on Sundays.
Oh yeah, every other Sunday I bake my own white bread. I put it in the oven. Smells and tastes great. I haven't bought real bread like the one you buy in the store in a year already.
You bake your own bread. So, brother, you're writing comic books, baking your own bread.
Whole renaissance, man.
I'm telling you, man, you on the next. Like, I gotta step my game up. You know, like, okay, Rod, what are you doing, dog? You just writing jokes. When was the last time you even tried to bake something? I ain't even baking sugar cookies. Wilfred's over here baking bread. Okay, and wrote a comic book all the way out. Man, he's finished 6 issues. I haven't read 6
I'm
issues.
just trying to figure out ways to make food that's better that I don't have to work for. So I bought a sous vide machine. You're like on the other end of the spectrum. You're baking bread. I'm just like sticking shit in water, waiting for a couple hours, throwing it on the grill for a second, and eating it.
Yeah, no, we really got to step our game up. Yeah, you have really pushed us now to be better. Didn't know that was going to happen on this episode. Man, I really have had a blast with you. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for just telling us about this. Seriously, we're going to have you back. And especially if you do decide to do the Kickstarter. I want to 100% support you in that any way we can because I believe in what you're doing, and I think you deserve that bigger audience. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me, actually.
All right, no problem, man. Brandon, anything from you, man? He's a game changer. He changed the game for us.
Like I've tried writing things. Like I've got like an outline for a novel, and then I've got a whole bunch of like short story stuff that I've written and things like that. Nothing that's has ever seen the light of day, but I know how fucking hard it is just to get the first sentence out, and like how much that first sentence actually means to the rest of the book. Like one of my favorite beginnings of any book ever is Neuromancer, and it's the quote is, "The sky above the port was the color of television tuned to a dead channel." I mean, that first line, that just takes you right. This is the world that you're in.
Yeah. You know
Things
what
are
you're getting,
fucked up in that first sentence, and I know how hard that is. So the fact that you've been able to write an entire comic book series, I'm just like, I'm fucking done. I never could do that.
Yeah, no, you've blown me away, man. And I'm actually going back to the guy that asked me to write a comic book series, and I'm going to punch him in the face and give him your information. So don't you ever diss me like that. You go get this real writer. No, man, I tell you, this has been a blast. What we'll do is we're going to put your information on the Team Lift page and definitely a way for people to connect with you. And just to follow you and just keep us updated on it, man. And best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, man. Once again, it's the end of the Team Lift episode, man. I'm blown away by this one. Probably one of my favorite episodes so far, and we've done some great ones in 2017 already that are going to be blowing minds. But this one was pretty awesome. You know how to reach us. We're going to give you the information at the end of the show, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. And just remember, our boy Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica passed away today, and just going to give him a moment of silence and respect. And you can definitely pay your love and attention to the Hatch family in this moment, in this time. Have a wonderful week, guys. We're out. Peace. Thanks for listening to the Team Lift Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Join us again next week as we discuss more topics from geek culture. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter page @GoTeamLift, as well as our personal pages @Coach Silky and @ThighSide. You can direct questions and comments to us on our Twitter page, as well as find links to all of our social media outlets. Thank you for listening. See you again next week.